afternoon to all of you. On behalf of Intas Pharmaceuticals, I, Dr. Major Sashikant Sharma, cordially welcome the eminent speakers of today's webinar. A warm welcome to all the participants of this webcast. Today's topic is on intravitreal injections, insurance claims, their rejections, and the subsequent solutions. So let me take this opportunity to introduce to all of you the distinguished and renowned speakers of today's webinar. The first speaker of today's webinar will be Dr. Amarjit Kadam. Dr. Amarjit Kadam completed his MBBS in December 1998 from Jawaharlal Nehru Medical College, Belgaum, and his MS Ophthalmology from the prestigious Kasturba Medical College, Manipal in September 2002. He also completed DNB from Delhi in 2003 and was admitted as a diplomat of the National Board. He successfully completed his fellowship in VR surgery in April 2004 at Sri Ganpati Nethralaya, Jalna, under the able guidance of eminent vitreoretinal surgeon Dr. Girish Rao. He was enrolled as Fellow International Council of Ophthalmology UK in April 2004 and also a Fellow of Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow in February 2007. He presented various papers, posters, and surgical videos at national and international level. He has many publications in peer-reviewed journals also. He served as the Vice President of Gujarat Ophthalmological Society in the year 2011 and actively involved in the academic activities of Baroda Ophthalmic Society. Presently, he is a practicing VR surgeon and cataract surgeon since May 2004 at Vadodara, Gujarat. He has his own eye hospital, Swayam Eye Hospital and Retina Center, which is a fully equipped eye hospital with all the ultra-modern facilities under one roof. The next speaker is Mr. Parshva Sheth. Mr. Parshva Sheth started his financial planning journey in January 2011 after founding Aram Financial. He is a certified financial planner having an experience of more than 10 years in the finance and insurance industry. He has also done a postgraduate specialization in financial markets and insurance. At Aram Financial, he and his team manages investments and insurance portfolios of the clients. Their goal is to give them a one-stop solution in order to help clients fulfill their investment as well as insurance needs. Currently, Aram Financial is serving more than 400 families, having settled 500 plus claims amounting to rupees 4.6 CR, and they aspire to become one of the leading financial planning houses in India with simple motto of creating wealth, ensuring lives. So now may I request Dr. Amarjit Kadam to please take over the Mr. Dr. Amarjit Kadam.
Yes. A very good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank Intas for organizing this wonderful meet and giving me an opportunity to speak to all of you. The topic of today's discussion is seamless intravitreal insurance claims. Friends, until now, what we were seeing that around 90% of the most of the claims were being rejected. But now today, I'm happy to share that more than 90% of the intravitreal injection claims are being cleared. So the purpose of this talk is basically to simplify the entire process, right from claim submission to claim clearance. Now, you know what is the relevance of insurance in our lives, and more so for vitreoretinal disease. Now it has become very relevant because there is a growing volume of retinal cases being diagnosed, because of better diagnostic facilities available, increasing lifestyle diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and age-related macular degeneration, where the use of the modern intravitreal drugs is crucial. Again, there has been a lot of advances in the medical and surgical treatment of retinal disease. So, if the patient is well insured, it is better, he can avail better facilities and better treatment. So, every patient coming to me, I stress upon the fact that you should have a good insurance and so that you can take better treatment. Now, as I already mentioned, better treatment options, better drugs available, and better infrastructure. This leads to an increased cost of treatment. And if the patient is not insured, this will be the expression of the patient. Now, the intravitreal drugs have become reasonably reasonable because the biosimilars have also come in, like Razumab. So the treatment cost has gone significantly down, and most of the patients can afford the treatment. So all of us are wondering, when will the Achhe Din come for us? Because the cost of everything, right from housing, utility bills, insurance, insurance premiums, everything has gone up. So we all are wondering when the Achhe Din will come. Probably for the vitreoretinal surgeons, I would say the Achhe Din will be when all the intravitreal claims are cleared without any hassles. And our Achhe Din are coming soon. What is the need of insurance? India spends about 1% of the GDP on healthcare, and there is less dependence on government, and the onus lies with the private healthcare providers. The private healthcare providers are the ones usually who put these, who give intravitreal injections more often, the certified intravitreal injections which are approved. So the onus lies on the private healthcare providers. Now, as I've already mentioned, the recent advances have led to more expensive healthcare. And hence, if the patient doesn't have insurance, then it will bore a big hole in his pocket, and you can see what can happen. Now, health is unpredictable, and we should be prepared for the worst. So we should advise all our patients that the insurance is having a good insurance policy is a must. I think the next speaker, Parshiv Sheth, he will be able to tell you better because he is an expert in this field. Now, today, what are the challenges that the insurance sector is facing? One is the very high premiums. The premiums have become really high, and taking an insurance policy has become really expensive. Then there has been a lot of these problems which we are facing with the intravitreal injection, that is unreliable and unreasonable rejection of the claims, which was a common problem. But now with constant communication with the insurance companies and the TPAs, I think we have been able to solve that. Now, there are stricter regulations being put, especially if you are doing cashless. There are the NABH accreditations, the low rates, and the harassment by the TPAs and delayed payments. All these are problems, which, but these problems can be sorted out. Some of the insurance companies have put a cap on the diseases covered. So,
Dr. Amaj, sorry to interrupt, but your slides are not changing.
The slides are changing.
Yes.
Changing.
No changing.
Is it seen?
Only the first slide is visible.
Oh.
Only slide number 1 is visible on the screen.
Okay. No, I have shared. Just hold on.
Yes, now it is visible. Slide number 5. Slide number 5 is visible.
Okay, now it is seen. Now?
Yes, slide number 5th. Slide number 5 is visible on the screen.
Okay. Sorry. So this is what I was mentioning. We'll just go through it quickly. So the purpose of this talk was to basically simplify right from claim submission to claim clearance, right? We were facing a lot of rejections, but now about 90% of the claims are being cleared. So with we are seeing a greater volume of retinal disease because of the better diagnosis and increasing number of lifestyle diseases, and better medical and surgical treatment of diseases are now available. Now, I already mentioned that how the increased cost, this is the expression of the patients who would not be insured. So if the patient is insured, the patient will be much more comfortable than this. Then this is what I said already, that अच्छे दिन कब आएंगे. So the अच्छे दिन for retinal surgeons would be all the intravitreal claims being cleared and without any hassles. So here I also mentioned that India spends about 1% of the GDP on healthcare. So there is less dependence on the government, and the onus lies with the private healthcare providers, who usually give the intravitreal injections. So for the private healthcare providers, I think the problems of this intravitreal claims comes, and I think we have been able to address those problems quite a bit now. Now, here I said that the insurance, if you don't have insurance, it will bore a big hole in your pocket. You are able to see now?
Dr. Amarjit, again the slides are not getting changed. We are still at slide number 5 only.
Oh, why it is happening like that? Just hold on. Huh? Because here the slides are moving.
But here on the screen, when we are seeing, they are not moving.
Now are the slides changing?
No, we are still on slide number 8.
Hold on, I'll just close the presentation again and I'll restart it. So now you are able to see. Kindly unmute. Your mic needs to be unmuted. You are able to see?
I can see only slide number 1. Perhaps if you make it full screen. Make it full screen.
Hold on. Please. Now you are able to see. But this is on full screen only.
Now you please change. Let us see.
Okay.
Change the slide.
Now.
Now. You can see slide number 6 only.
I don't know why this is happening. Initially, it was changing in between.
No, from the very beginning, it was not changing. We waited for a few minutes.
Okay.
Then I interrupted.
Oh, no. I was just wondering. Right. I don't know what is happening. It is on full screen only.
Sir, hello. Sir, एक बार आप slide show. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Sir, एक बार ना slide show mode पे करिए ना तो हो जाएगा.
Slide show mode पे ही है.
नहीं सर, अभी यहाँ पे नहीं दिखा रहा है. Slide show mode पे नहीं है. आप एक बार stop share करिए सर.
Stop share करो.
Yes sir. Stop share कर दिया. हाँ. अभी सर वापस एक बार जाइए शेयर स्क्रीन में और अपना ये ना प्रेजेंटेशन वाला स्लाइड हो ना सिर्फ
हाँ,
उसी
हाँ।
को शेयर कीजिए सर. यस सर, अभी दिख रहा है.
Yes, now it is full screen.
यस सर.
But the thing is, now it is changing.
यस
Yes,
सर.
now
यस सर.
changing. Yes, now
Okay.
the slides are changing. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fine, fine. So this we have come up till now, up till here, right? Fine. So the various challenges that the insurance sector is facing today is high premiums and unreliable and unreasonable rejection of the claims. There are stricter regulations with the, especially with the cashless, that we see the NABH accreditations, the low rates being given, then the harassment by the TPAs and the delayed payments. So all these problems are being faced by the insurance sector today. Now, a smaller spectrum of disease is also covered. Like many of the companies have already said that they will not be reimbursing intravitreal injections, and they take it in writing. So it is very difficult in such cases. Now, coming to the list of documents that you should present to the insurance companies, the insurance company's claim form, it should be duly filled and signed. The health policy details should be written very carefully, and especially the nature of the illness, that should be written properly. If there are multiple doctors involved, then doctor's prescription and referral letter should be there. Now, coming to the very important point is the consultation and indoor case paper. In the consultation and indoor case paper, when you write the says you have treated the patient for diabetic retinopathy with intravitreal injections. Now, what happens is, in the consultation paper, sometimes you write the actual duration of the disease. Now, if you write if the patient had taken the claim 5 years back, and if you write that the patient had diabetes since 7 years, then what happens is, the insurance company directly they assume that it is a pre-existing disease, and they will right away cancel the claim. So it is very important that if the patient has taken the policy 5 years back, then you make sure that you write the duration of diabetes less than 5 years. That is, you can write 4 years or 3 years, whatever you want, right? So that is one thing that you have to ensure. Then all the original bills, receipts, discharge papers, everything should be attached. The discharge card is especially important. All the hospital bills should be properly duly stamped and signed. Then if you have done any diagnostic tests like OCT and angiography reports, so that should be given along with that. And on the reports, you should clearly mention what is the disease and why you have treated. So you should justify whatever you have written. Again, the medicine bills should be right from the original bills from the pharmacy. And it is very important to give the invoice of the intravitreal injection also. That is the one point that most of the insurance companies raise, that they want the original invoice of the intravitreal drug. And what you can do is, you can just take a copy and just sign and stamp on that, right? Because the original invoice will be billed in your name and not in the name of the patient. So it is important that you sign it and stamp it, right? Any other relevant documents may be given. So what is the current stand of the insurance companies with regard to intravitreal injections? As such, it is very much unsure, and there are no clear guidelines. The clearance of all the claims depends on case-to-case basis. That is, whatever the insurance company feels right, they do. But now more and more claims are getting cleared. That is also one thing that we have to remember. So we should not, we should not tell the patient that we don't take guarantee for intravitreal injection claims being cleared. We should tell him that usually it is cleared, but there can be a few queries raised that we will answer, and the problem will be solved. Now, it has been observed that all the approved drugs, like it may be Razumab, Excentrix, or Ozurdex, are more likely to be reimbursed than the unapproved drugs. And plus with the Avastin, there are legal issues also. So I would advise all the veterinary surgeons that it is better not to use Avastin, because not only your insurance claim will not be cleared, but there are legal issues also. So, and better treatment options are available. Single use biosimilars are available. So you can use the biosimilars, and it will be the patient will be able to afford it also. Now, some companies take in writing while issuing the claim that there will be no reimbursement for intravitreal injections. So the patient should be advised that they should read all the clauses while taking the insurance policy. It is very important because all these things are written in very small print, and they tend to be neglected. Now, coming to the common causes of claim rejection. It is my personal observation that the individual claims are more likely to be rejected than the group mediclaims. Sometimes there is a improper documentation, no intimation date mentioned, and late submission. So all these are very common problems, and they should be avoided. So if your documentation is perfect, the mediclaim is more likely to go through. Sometimes the TPAs are unreasonable and they reject the claim. It may be intentional or lack of understanding of the disease, because many of the TPAs have these alternative medicine doctors on their panel, and they are probably not able to understand what treatments you have done. So sometimes you need to explain to them. And the rejection of the claim by the TPA is illegal according to the new IRDA guidelines. So the TPAs cannot reject your intravitreal injection claim. That is what we should remember. And I have already mentioned that many of the disease has been, the companies directly say that we have already written that intravitreal injection or the treatment of this particular disease will not be covered under your policy. So they can reject your claim. Many times the insurance companies claim that 24 hours hospitalization was not there. So your claim is rejected. Here you can explain to them that according to the new IRDA guidelines, all the ophthalmic procedures come under daycare. Even if it is a major retinal surgery, that comes under daycare only. So you have to explain to them. And the problem, one thing that you should remember is you should never show 24 hours hospitalization, whatever happens, because most of our setups, ophthalmic setups, don't have admission facilities. And if you show 24 hours of hospitalization, then it comes under the Clinical Establishment Act. And the Clinical Establishment Act clearly states that the treatment should be taken in a 15-bedded hospital. So this rule will apply to you if you mention 24 hours of hospitalization. So you should refrain from mentioning 24 hours of hospitalization. So coming to the documentation that we should do for mediclaim, all the proper documentation, I have already mentioned that. Submit for all the procedures at one time, because if you do multiple submissions, there is a greater chance of rejection. So even if you have done the angiography, OCT, the intravitreal injection, the focal or sectoral or panretinal photocoagulation on different days, but you keep the claim as a single claim, because if it should look like a package procedure, because if you keep multiple claims, they are more likely to be rejected. So ensure that the date of the procedures appearing on the reports are matching with the intimation date. So if you have intimated the insurance companies on 17th, then the date of the procedure should also be 17th, right? So it should not vary. Then any queries, if they come, they should be answered quickly, almost immediately, and within the stipulated time. Sometimes, I communicate on a personal level with the TPAs, and they get convinced, and the problem is solved. So most of the times, I think on personal communication works out, and you don't have to take other steps. Now, this is the slide of how I would present the Mediclaim for an intravitreal injection. See, probably I've done the treatment in sittings, but what I would show is like everything has been done on this particular day, and uh, that justifies the thing, and no query is raised. Because if you mention multiple procedure, this procedure, OCT angiography was done on this date, and laser was done on this date, and intravitreal injection was done on this date, then it will cause a problem. So better to keep one date and one single bill. So that will be easier for the insurance company also to understand. They will be able to process your claim. Now, what if your intravitreal injection claim is rejected? First, you give a written explanation to the TPA. If they have raised any queries, you answer the duration, or about the duration of the disease, the type of the disease, or whatever queries they have asked. You can just communicate on personal basis, and this is usually successful. But if it doesn't work out, then then you can approach the insurance ombudsman. The insurance will come to that later. And the third, if the insurance ombudsman option also doesn't work out, then of course you have the legal consumer forum. So what is the insurance ombudsman? The insurance ombudsman was a scheme created by the government for individual policy holders to have their complaints settled in a cost-effective, efficient, and impartial way. So there are 17 different insurance ombudsmen, and you may have any grievance with regard to the policy or with regard to the claim. You can approach the insurance ombudsman and they will try to solve it. So what does the insurance ombudsman do? It acts as a mediator, and it gives a fair recommendation based on the facts of the dispute. And then they will give you an award. They will award, and if you accept it, then the claim will be passed accordingly. But if you are not happy with the insurance ombudsman, then you have to take the legal route also. And as per today's stand of the consumer or the high courts, all the intravitreal injections claims should be passed by the insurance company. That's what has been repeatedly mentioned by the courts, and that you can give these kind of cuttings, or you can give evidences that so and so claims were passed and were cleared in the past, and you can show the high court judgment also sometimes. So all these things you can do, and most of the times I'm telling you, you will be successful, and the insurance company settles the claim. So I have not faced too many problems, but I have taken special efforts to work with the patient and to discuss with the TPAs. And then once they are convinced, then the next claim comes, they will not ask any questions, and they will clear without any problem. So now coming to the role of the associations, what role the associations can play? The local and the Pan India Ophthalmic Association, that is the AIOS, what role it can play? So it is always better that the communication is through the society, because if you try to communicate on individual basis, it is difficult, and communication, if it comes from the society, then it is better, more likely to be heard. So if you the common queries that we get, if the local society writes on its letterhead that this so and so 24 hours hospitalization is not required, the invoice is not required, or whatever the common queries that they are raised, if that the local ophthalmic societies, if they give it in writing on the letterhead, then you can just show that letter, and most of the times the claim is cleared. Then what ophthalmic societies need to do is to formulate a common method of submitting claims on pan-India basis. So if a person sitting in Vadodara and a person sitting in Nagpur, if both of them submit the same kind of pattern of claim, then it is more likely to be passed. So I think we should formulate a common method of submitting these claims on pan-India basis. So that will help us, because the TPAs and all, they are interconnected. So one TPA asks the other, then there should be no query that so and so bill was received, so and so bill was received. There is a common billing pattern, so we will not have any problems. Then the legality of the intravitreal drugs has to be communicated to the insurance company. So we need to tell the insurance companies, see, this is a legal drug and this is an approved drug, so you need to pass the claim. Then even the pharma companies like Intas and other companies can join our organization in representation to the insurance companies. I think the Intas people are doing that. They have already they have their insurance help desk, and they are assisting the patients also, and they are also trying to communicate with our organizations. So to conclude, insurance claim settlement pertaining to intravitreal injections is a complex procedure with lot of uncertainties, but with cohesive representation and good and precise documentation, there is a good possibility that claim settlement of intravitreal injections will become easy and predictable. So the Achhe Din are coming, and most of our insurance claims will be settled. You can see this is how the insurance help desk of Intas is working, and they take the details from the patient, and the telecounselor then verifies all the documents and asks them to submit to the insurance company. So that's how they are also facilitating the claim. So this is also very important. The patient gets a lot of moral support that some companies also helping them. So it is good for us, good for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kadam. It was really a very nice presentation from your side, and definitely a knowledge imparting presentation pertaining to the insurance claims, which most of the patients and the doctors face in the recent scenario. The presentation will definitely help in resolving most of the queries and doubts of the participating audience. So definitely a very wonderful presentation. Now may I request Mr. Parshva Sheth to please make his presentation.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. It's been a pleasure to attend this wonderful presentation with Dr. Amarjit sir and Dr. Sashikant Sharma. I thank Intas for this opportunity, and I'll just start my presentation in a second. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. So this is something about us. What we do, we are a financial planning firm, Arham Financial, and we have been here since last 10 years now. The idea is basically to give a one-stop solutions to all of our clients. These are the things which we do, from financial planning to mutual funds to insurance to PMSs and fixed income planning. We are basically financial planners. We have been there for almost a decade now, and the main idea is to give a one-stop solution to all of our clients for their insurance as well as their investment needs. So insurance, as they speak, it is very uncomplicated subject. It is not a complicated subject, provided that you analyze the.
Mr. Sheth, if you can make it full screen, please.
Yes, absolutely. I'll do that, sir. Is it visible now? Yeah, so at Arham Financial, we believe in analyzing and working on the problems from top to bottom. We believe that with knowledge and experience, we can overcome all the difficulties and can find
the slide is not visible still.
It is not visible?
No.
Okay, just a second. Is it visible now?
Full screen, but full screen.
Yeah, I'll do that, but you can
yes,
see
it is visible. It is visible.
Now?
Yes, now it's full screen. Okay, fine, perfect.
Okay, I'll start now.
Okay.
So at Arham Financial, we believe in analyzing and working on the problems from top to bottom. We believe that with any knowledge and experience, we can overcome any difficulties and find solutions to any problems, no matter how big they may seem. So these are the basic things of do's and don'ts in insurance claims. So these are very basic things which a person that is the insured, because the person who is taking the claim is referred to as insured. So an insured needs to have these points noted down when he plans to take any claim. So normally what happens is, if we speak about the treatment intravitreal injections, you guys, it is a pre-planned surgery. So whenever any claim intimation has to be done, it should be at the top priority while planning for any surgery. So claim intimation should be the top priority in pre-planned surgeries or procedures. If a surgery is planned, please inform your TPAs or the insurance companies in advance. What happens is that the TPA sometimes don't know whether the claim is being handled or is being already informed to us in advance. Some of the insurance companies have made it mandatory as well that please inform us in advance so that they can know that there is a planned surgery which is going on. Second most important thing is that we have seen is that the claim file are not submitted at a proper stipulated time. If you understand that majority of the insurance companies are saying that in 20-25 days, the claim file should be submitted post discharge of the patient. What happens is that after 20-25 days, the patient sometimes forgets to, submit the claim file. And what happens is that he doesn't even inform the TPA or the insurance company about it. Suppose COVID में ऐसा हुआ था कि कई लोगों ने claim file submit ही नहीं की, फिर उसके बाद 2 महीने बाद submit की. What you need to do is एक बार एक TPA और insurance company को आप सिर्फ एक email कर दीजिए कि सर इस circumstances के कारण मैं अभी claim file submit नहीं कर पा रहा. They have to settle the claim at any cost, even if the claim gets delayed. If you have already informed them in advance about the reason, it's absolutely fine. Third most important thing is that we have observed that the claim file is not completely filled. Sometimes part B नहीं होता है claim form में, discharge summary में कई documents miss हो जाते हैं. फिर sometimes in a major claims, अगर बड़े claim होते हैं तो hospitals by default आपको एक ब्रेकअप बिल देती है. अगर नहीं देती है तो इंश्योरेंस आप एज ए इंश्योर्ड ये आपकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि आप ब्रेकअप बिल ले लीजिए हॉस्पिटल से. तो जो टीपीए है या फिर जो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी है वो क्वेरी ही रेज नहीं कर पाएगी. द मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव इज दैट जब आप क्लेम फाइल सबमिट करते हो, आप करें 15 दिन के बाद क्लेम फाइल सबमिट करें, बट मेक श्योर कि सब डॉक्यूमेंट्स अंदर प्लेस्ड हो. पार्ट बी शुड बी फिल्ड, पार्ट ए शुड बी फिल्ड, आईडी प्रूफ्स ऑफ द इंश्योर्ड as well as the proposer should be there in the claim file. So fourth most important thing जो डॉक्टर कदम सर ने भी बोला था कि पीईडी, प्री एग्जिस्टिंग डिसीज जिसको बोलते हैं. कई बार ऐसा होता है सर कि प्री एग्जिस्टिंग डिसीज आपने इंश्योरेंस कंपनी को इन्फॉर्म ही नहीं किए हुए होते हैं जब आप पॉलिसी लेते हैं. उसके कारण जब डिस्चार्ज समरी में आप प्री एग्जिस्टिंग डिसीज को इंश्योरेंस कंपनी या टीपीए या जो क्लेम सेटलमेंट करने वाले जो बंदे होते हैं जिसको हम लोग या तो सर्वेयर कहते हैं, वो सर्वेयर जब ये देखते हैं कि यार ये इसमें तो डायबिटीज शो किया हुआ है और डायबिटीज इट वाज नॉट देयर व्हेन द क्लाइंट हैड टेकन द पॉलिसी फ्रॉम देम, देन दे विल रिजेक्ट द क्लेम. देन यू कैन नॉट चैलेंज द क्लेम. इफ सपोज आपने पॉलिसी ली है 2013 में और वो इंश्योर्ड को 2015 में डायबिटीज हुआ था, अभी इट इज वेरी रिलेवेंट दैट जब 2019 में इनका हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन आता है तब आप लिखिए कि क्लाइंट हैज डायबिटीज ऑफ सिंस लास्ट 4 years. आप अगर ये ध्यान रखेंगे और डिस्चार्ज समरी में ये लिखा हुआ होगा कि दैट पेशेंट हैज डायबिटीज सिंस लास्ट 4 years, I am bet that there is no chance that the insurance company can reject the claim. It is very certain that this should be mentioned. Plus, prepare a list of bill and expenses on a separate page with relevant bill number, receipt number, bill towards and the amount and everything. What is happening is that इंश्योरेंस कंपनी के पास बहुत फाइल्स होती है. वो ये देखते हैं कि जितनी फाइल बहुत स्मूथ है और जितने में डॉक्यूमेंट्स एकदम प्रॉपर फॉर्मेट में है, तो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी ट्राई करती है कि ये क्लेम को जल्दी फटाफट सेटल करवा दे. कई बार ऐसा होता है कि हमारे क्लेम्स ऐसे होते हैं कि मैंने कई क्लेम फाइल्स देखी कि हमारे क्लेम 10 दिन में सेटल हो जाते हैं, 15 दिन में सेटल हो जाता है. द थिंग इज दैट द टीपीएस आर वेरी पैक्ड, दे आर वेरी बिजी विद ऑल द क्लेम्स. रिसेंटली इफ यू विल सी द लास्ट 2 COVID waves, in the second wave there were a lot of claims. The insurance company wanted to clear the claims as fast as possible because there is a pressure from the insurance company, from the insured as well. So if the file is properly, placed in a proper format, they will settle the claim relevantly very easily. So our observations is that we have observed that many times the list of approved treatments in some procedures are not allowed. So कई बार ऐसा होता है कि सर क्लेम तो कर दिया इंश्योरेंस कंपनी में, आपने क्लेम कर इंटीमेट कर दिया, अभी अगर प्री प्लान सर्जरी है तो आपको पता है कि मेरी 25 फेब को मेरी ये सर्जरी है, तो आप 20 फेब को 15 फेब को इंश्योरेंस कंपनी को एक ईमेल कर सकते हैं कि कैन यू प्लीज चेक विथ इन योर पॉलिसी वर्डिंग्स दैट ये जो मेरा क्लेम है ये पेएबल है या नहीं पेएबल है. Insurance company has to reply in at least in 72 hours. If we inform them, either the insured does or either the agent does or either the broker does, insurance company will tell you. Plus, many insurance companies have different rules and sublimits depending on their policy wordings. Policy wordings is the Bible, particularly of any insurance policy. उसमें लिखा होता है कि ये डिसीज में हम लोग इतना पैसा देंगे. तो अगर ये आपको पता है और अगर आप ये डॉक्टर्स को इन्फॉर्म कर देते हैं, हॉस्पिटल को इन्फॉर्म कर देते हैं कि मेरी पॉलिसी में इतना कैपिंग है, तो वो भी आपको हेल्प करेंगे कि कैसे आप मैक्सिमम क्लेम अमाउंट आपकी सेटल हो सके. थर्ड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज दैट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज आर फ्लडेड विद क्लेम फाइल्स. मेक श्योर दैट you always have one photocopy of the entire claim file with you, so that if suppose post 1 month कोई क्वेरी आती है और अगर आप इंश्योरेंस कंपनी बोलती है कि ये पेपर नहीं है, तो आप उसकी जेरोक्स उनको प्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं कि देखिए ये हमारे पास इसकी जेरोक्स है, हमने ऑलरेडी ओरिजिनल क्लेम फाइल में ये डॉक्यूमेंट सबमिट किए हुए हैं. For this policy wordings, as I told you, policy wording is the Bible of insurance. So आप जब भी कोई पॉलिसी इंश्योरेंस कंपनी अंडरराइट करती है तो वो लोग एक पॉलिसी वर्डिंग्स का एक पेज बनाते हैं, जिसको हम लोग हमारी भाषा में इसको बाइबल कहते हैं, कि इसमें जो लिखा होता है इंश्योरेंस कंपनी हैज टू क्लियर दिस एटलीस्ट. सो रिसेंटली many companies, if you know, have disease wise capping in various procedures. अभी तक इंट्रावेट्रल इंजेक्शन, जैसे कदम सर ने कहा कि पहले इट वाज नॉट पेएबल. द रिसेंट सर्कुलर ऑफ IRDA, they have issued guidelines which is effective from October 2020 that intravenous injections cannot be excluded from any insurance. So this is IRDA has developed a guideline. Now every insurance company has to incorporate this in their policy wordings. So this has resulted in some traction in the reimbursement of intravitreal injections. Earlier what happened is that intravitreal injections, as you must all be knowing, it is a daycare procedure. So earlier it was not payable, insurance company was just rejected in plainly. Now what has happened is that in some insurance companies, they have started paying it, provided that they have kept a limit that it is payable up to 10% of some insured. If you can just see this, maximum to 50,000 per policy period. कुछ इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज ऐसी भी कर रही है कि हम 2 इंजेक्शन पे करेंगे. अभी what happens is that कई बार ऐसा होता है कि मुझे कई डॉक्टर्स ने बोला है कि नहीं तो 4 इंजेक्शन का ही कोर्स है और 2 इंजेक्शन हमें इंश्योरेंस कंपनी अप्रूव कर रही है. दैट कैन बी चैलेंज्ड इन द ओम्बड्समैन कि भाई अगर ये कोर्स ही 4 ट्रीटमेंट क्या है, भले आपके पॉलिसी वर्डिंग्स में आपने 2 इंजेक्शन लिखे हुए हैं, लेकिन इट कैन बी चैलेंज्ड. सो एनीथिंग रिटन इन पॉलिसी वर्डिंग्स डज नॉट मीन इट कैन नेवर बी चैलेंज्ड. इट कैन बी चैलेंज्ड provided that there is some relevance to it. And suppose in New India, if, as you see, this age-related ACARMD, age-related macular degeneration, or the anti-VEGF medication is covered after 48 months of continuous coverage. मतलब अगर 2015 में पॉलिसी ली है तो 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 तक आप क्लेम नहीं कर सकते. अगर इन 4 साल बाद आप मैक्सिमम ऑफ 10% ऑफ सम इंश्योर्ड और 50,000 पर पॉलिसी पीरियड कैन बी क्लेम्ड. Some companies also limit the number of injections, which I told you earlier. That can also be challenged in the court. This might not be able to challenge of 50,000, but the number of limit of injections can be challenged. The most important thing is that earlier what was happening is that TPAs were rejecting claims if they found that no, this claim is not payable. There was one of the court case was going on in Baroda, where a TPA had rejected claim for one of the insured. He went to the court and the consumer court ruled in favor of the insured person because TPAs are mere facilitators. Because insurance companies does not have the required staff or probably the team which can settle the claims, they hire TPAs, which are known as third-party administrators. Third-party administrators need to facilitate them. They cannot decide that whether the claims can be rejected or can be cleared. What happens is that in normal the process ऐसा होता है कि आप जब क्लेम फाइल आप भेजते हैं इंश्योरेंस कंपनी में, तो वो लोग उसको वेरीफाई करते हैं और फिर वो लोग रिकमेंडेड या नॉट रिकमेंडेड करके इंश्योरेंस कंपनी में भेजते हैं. कई बार ऐसा होता है कि इंश्योरेंस कंपनी नॉन रिकमेंडेशन पे भी रिकमेंड करके वो क्लेम सेटल कर सकती है अगर उनको लगता है कि नहीं ये क्लेम पेएबल है. तो TPAs are facilitators. If they reject the claim, you have the right to go to the ombudsman or to the next channels which I will show you in the next slide. तो उनको आप बता सकते हैं कि सर ये पेएबल है. अगर आप पेएबल नहीं है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि टीपीएस रिजेक्ट ही कर देगी. टीपीएस हैव टू इन्फॉर्म द इंश्योरेंस कंपनी, देन इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज विल रिजेक्ट इफ दे फाइंड दैट पॉलिसी वर्डिंग्स में ये मैच नहीं हो रहा है कहीं पे. The most important thing is rejection handling. It does not mean the end of the world. अगर आप क्लेम, कई बार ऐसा होता है कि क्लेम रिजेक्ट हो जाते हैं, हमारे क्लाइंट्स हमारे पास आते हैं, यार ये तो रिजेक्ट हो गया, ये क्लियर नहीं होगा. I don't believe any claim which is rejected can never be reopened back. We have challenged the claims in ombudsman. We have been to consumer courts. Rejection does not mean that it is the end of the world. It is just that the battle will be a little bit long. So many times insurance companies or TPAs reject the claims as their query remains unsolved, or if they feel that claim is not payable. Most important thing to understand is that rejection does not mean the claim cannot be reopened, as I told you earlier. Insurance company always have something called grievance redressal. तो अगर आपका क्लेम रिजेक्ट हो गया, आप उसके ही ग्रीवियंस डिपार्टमेंट में जा सकते हैं, और उसके बाद अगर ग्रीवियंस डिपार्टमेंट ने बोला कि नहीं सर हमें अभी भी लगता है कि ये क्लेम पेबल नहीं है, तो देयर इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट person who is known as ombudsman. Ombudsman is basically appointed by government official. Every insurance company, even banks, have an ombudsman for them who is being appointed by government in order to be mediate the claims. कई बार क्या होता है कि mediator चाहिए होता है claim settle करने के लिए, तो ये ombudsman है वो impartial है. He is not supporting insurance company, he is not supporting our side, but he gives a view, he takes a view of the entire claim, and then he gives a solution that whether this is payable or not. We have found out that the ombudsman has helped many people settle their claims. कई claims ऐसे होते हैं जो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी रिजेक्ट ही कर रही है, लेकिन अगर ombudsman को लगेगा कि नहीं यार ये क्लेम पेएबल है, तो डेफिनेटली इंश्योरेंस कंपनी को बोलेगी that you have to pay the claim, and insurance company has to pay the claim if ombudsman decides to do so. कई बार ऐसा होता है कि ombudsman को लगता है सर ये क्लेम पेएबल नहीं है. The last resort is consumer court. Typically in ombudsman and consumer court, the difference is that the legal expenses in ombudsman is almost zero, while in consumer court the legal expenses has to be borne by the insured. So there is a legal expenditure. The battle is long because even ombudsman में जब हम जाते हैं तब ये जो battle होती है वो कई बार 1 साल तक होती है, क्योंकि there are lots of cases which are pending with the ombudsman, and I'm sure you people will always be knowing that कंज्यूमर कोर्ट में भी कई केसेस ऑलरेडी चल रहे हैं. तो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी टिपिकली हमने देखा है कि 1-1.5 साल में तो रूलिंग आ जाता है, जो भी या तो इंश्योर्ड की तरफ का या फिर इंश्योरेंस कंपनी की तरफ था. सो द इंश्योरेंस कंपनी इज लायबल टू पे द, कई बार ऐसा होता है कि लीगल एक्सपेंसेस क्लाइंट्स को पे नहीं करने होते हैं, बट इन कंज्यूमर कोर्ट व्हेन यू अपॉइंट अ लॉयर देन यू नीड टू पे लीगल एक्सपेंसेस टू दैट लॉयर. लेकिन इफ सपोज आप केस जीत जाते हैं कंज्यूमर कोर्ट में, तो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी इज also liable to pay the legal fees of the insured. जो इंश्योर्ड ने ये केस करने के लिए जो लीगल एक्सपेंडिचर स्पेंड किया है, दैट आल्सो भी नीड टू बी, वो भी उनका एक स्पेंड है, तो दैट आल्सो हैज टू बी borne by the insurance company, provided that insured asks his legal team to ask for legal expenses from the insurance company. अगर इंश्योरेंस कंपनी केस हार गई, अगर इंश्योर्ड हैज won the case, then the insurance company is also liable to pay the claim amount along with the interest, once the ruling of course comes in the favor of the insured. The consumer court, I must say, has been very instrumental in settling claims where they believe that insurance company has found any loophole and is denying claim which is actually payable. So we always tell our clients that don't lose heart, try to go to the consumer court. If we believe that yes the claim is payable, we try at Arham Financial to push our client as much as possible to fight this case and fight the battle. Usually the cases, if we feel that now because we have grown, we have seen this industry from last 10 years, we have appointed some legal team in our organization as well who helps us get the claims settled. So that is something which we do. I understand that many of the brokers, big brokers are also having some kind of tie-up. So the insured need not to worry that अगर claim reject हो गया तो मेरे पास और कोई option नहीं है. You have the option to fight basically. So I think whatever time was allocated, I have tried to explain as much as possible. We can move to the Q&A once Kadam sir is ready. And thank you everyone. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Sheth. you very nicely explained the do's and don'ts of the insurance claims, and I hope it will definitely benefit the audience. So I am seeing over here there are certain questions from the audience also for both the speakers. And the first question is addressed to Dr. Kadam. Dr. Kadam, how things have changed with the IRDA new guidelines for health insurance with regards to the intravitreal anti-VEGF injections?
I think Parshavji has wonderfully explained that already. Now the IRDA guidelines have clearly mentioned that the claims of intravitreal injections cannot be rejected, and it is completely legal to give intravitreal injections. So I don't think that there is any reason for us to worry, and our insurance claims will go through very easily. The IRDA guidelines have clearly said that it is all daycare procedures do not require any hospitalization also. So in the recent IRDA guidelines, the 24 hours hospitalization is not mandatory for ophthalmic procedures. And I think the intravitreal injection claims cannot be rejected. That is what they have mentioned. So I think we don't have a reason to worry now.
But do you think, are there any different protocols which are followed by the insurance companies when they are reimbursing the claims for Indian brands and for the innovative brands of ranibizumab injections?
There are no different protocols. I have not faced any problem with either. If your documentation is good, then there is no reason for the insurance company to reject biosimilar and biosimilar claims also are cleared. But yes, if you have given Avastin, then there is a problem. Avastin claims they can raise a objection that it is a off-label use drug. So it is better to give these approved drugs which are single use. So in such claims you will not face the problems. But I have not seen any difference, be it Resumab or Excentrix or Lucentis, whatever. So I have not, or Ozurdex. There is no difference in the in the attitude of the insurance company. So all the claims are cleared. I don't see a problem.
But there are few patients who carry the impression that if they go with the innovative brands, then their claim will be reimbursed very easily compared to the Indian brands.
No, this is basically because of the counseling being done. Sometimes the patients are referred to these counselors of companies, and they will push their own brand. They will try to justify in every way. But there is no reason that I see for an approved drug to be rejected by insurance companies. The IRDA doesn't allow it, and I don't think you should worry about it at all. So
now there is a question from the audience. His claim was rejected since it was a daycare procedure and which is not covered in the insurance. So is there any solution to this, since the doctor asked the patient to opt for 2 more injections? So this is a query from the audience.
The very fact that the insurance company has rejected, they don't have the right to reject it. I think the TPA must have rejected it, but they don't have the right to reject it, because already in the IRDA guidelines it has been mentioned that 24 hours hospitalization is not required, and daycare procedures are to be reimbursed. All ophthalmic procedures come under daycare. So I don't see a reason. You should fight it out with them. I think you need to talk to the TPAs directly, or maybe concerned persons who have rejected the claim. I think they will accept your arguments. So I don't see a reason to be worried.
Now there is a claim of a patient who is having a policy since last 10 years, but his claim has been rejected on the ground, stating that it starts 4 years after the IRDA law. and he was rejected for both eyes intravitreal injections, having both eyes cystoid macular edema. But the patient is having the policy since last 10 years, and his claim has been rejected on this ground.
No, whatever law has come up, but this will not have a legal standing. If you challenge this thing in the court, I think it doesn't stand, because the company cannot, even if the IRDA law has come 4 years back and the claim was taken 10 years back, but the IRDA is, what is the current stand? That is important. The
It is
current
payable,
stance
sir.
is,
I feel it is payable.
yeah.
So in this case, we can think the ombudsman or the consumer court may
Yes,
help this
yes.
patient.
Yes, we should approach.
Okay, so now, Mr. Sheth, what do you think? Can TPA influence these insurance claims and rejections that is happened in this case?
So basically, what I will suggest you, sir, is that first of all, we need to look at the policy wordings. Primarily, what is happening that TPAs भी policy wording ही follow करते हैं, sir. ये भी कुछ सब insurance companies के TPAs है, तो वो उन लोगों को एक job ऐसा होता है कि वो लोग facilitators होते हैं. वो लोग रिजेक्ट नहीं करते. अभी तो वो लोग भी समझ गए हैं कि अभी ये सब हो रहा है कि रिजेक्ट करना बंद करना पड़ेगा. व्हाट दे डू इज दैट दे गिव रिकमेंडेशन टू क्लियर द क्लेम, or either they give recommendation to reject the claim. Basically, TPAs don't have any right to reject your claim. TPAs may ask for queries if they feel that some documentation is pending. But if any claim is being rejected, you can always write to the TPA. You can always go to the grievance redressal. There is a lot of things which are there, and so I don't think that there is any chance of one can always approach the TPA and ask for what is the problem. और वो भी रिजेक्शन के लिए उनको क्लेम सेटलमेंट लेटर या क्लेम रिजेक्शन लेटर देना पड़ता है, जिसमें वो लोग रीजन लिखना पड़ता है उनको कि इस रीजन के कारण हमने ये क्लेम को रिजेक्ट किया है, ये पॉलिसी वर्डिंग के ये सेक्शन में के कारण हमने रिजेक्ट किया है.
But the TPA cannot influence the rejections of the claims.
No, they cannot influence.
In your presentation,
you should have enough patience to fight it out.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to fight it out certain battles of your life. So
yes.
Everything may not be smooth, but I don't believe that TPAs will in any ways. I believe that TPAs want to settle your claims. If they feel that some documentation is not being provided to them, or otherwise they feel that doctor have probably missed out on some important details, they will always ask for queries. If you give them the solution to the queries, they are going to pay the claim. They don't have any personal agenda with any of the insured, right?
Now, none of the recent claims we have faced any queries.
Yes.
Because once we have clarified, they also know, so they don't question. I was also invited by one of the TPAs to be on their panel to check the claims of others doctors, whether they are justified or not. And I'm happy to share that I cleared all the intravitreal claims. Not even one claim I allowed them to reject. I said this is a legal thing, and if an approved drug has been given, so you cannot reject this claim.
Yeah.
So I don't see a reason to worry now. Most of the insurance companies are quite supportive.
I would like to just add one thing to it, that if you just say, last question was, it was question to sir that वो 10 साल पुराना पॉलिसी था जिसमें उन्होंने 4 साल का वो करके रिजेक्ट किया है. सर वो 100% पेएबल है. आप एक बार ग्रीवियंस रिड्रेसल में डाल दीजिए, उनको बताइए जो भी है कि ग्रीवियंस रिड्रेसल में जाइए, ओम्बड्समैन में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, और उसमें आपने 10 साल की पॉलिसी अटैच कीजिए, या फिर लास्ट ईयर की पॉलिसी में इंसेप्शन डेट लिखा हुआ है, वो करके एक लेटर बनाइए, जैसे मैं आपको समझा रहा हूँ वैसे एक लेटर करके इंश्योरेंस कंपनी को एड्रेस कीजिए कि भाई ये आप कैसे पे नहीं कर सकते, मेरी 10 साल पुरानी पॉलिसी है, 4 साल का IRDA की गाइडलाइन मैंने अभी जो मेरी जो स्लाइड थी उसमें लिखी हुई थी कि 4 साल का कंटिन्यूअस कवरेज होना चाहिए. रूल भले 2020 में आया है वो, लेकिन 10 साल की कंटिन्यूअस कवरेज है, वो लोग रिजेक्ट नहीं कर सकते सर ऐसे. या
And another thing that I've commonly seen is many times the insurer, even if the doctor has mentioned, say the patient had taken the policy 5 years back, and the patient had diabetes in 7 years. So
That is
what we
rejection.
need to share with the insurance companies is the patient developed retinopathy since the past 6 months only. Patient did not have, he must have had diabetes since 7 years, but he developed the retinopathy now.
But
6
that
months back.
rejection, that rejection is on the ground of a principle of utmost good faith. When you took the policy, principle of utmost good faith says that whatever you have to declare. So
Probably we have to
insurance
declare, yeah.
so principle of
But if
utmost
he
good
is,
faith.
yeah,
तो आप बराबर है सर कि रेटिना के कारण वो लोग
Right.
रिजेक्ट नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन सर बिकॉज इंश्योरेंस इंश्योर्ड ने लाई किया है उसके
yes.
कारण ये पॉलिसी अगर रिजेक्ट होती है तो इट इज
Right.
वेरी डिफिकल्ट, यू नो, इट इज अ दैट इज अ प्रॉब्लम,
That is the problem.
मस्ट बी एड्रेस्ड सर. प्लीज सर शर्मा सर.
See, in your presentation, you had mentioned very categorically the submission deadline. It should be the claim should be submitted in a stipulated time. But
Yes.
suppose due to any reason, if the patient or the person who is submitting the claim has exceeded that submission timeline, then is there any way out? How can the patient can be helped in such
So
situations?
you need to approach the insurance company rather than going to the TPA. Just mail it to the insurance company. There are always, people who are working for the insurance company who looks at this requests. That is karan se, I had recently, in last week only, before 15 days, we had one of my client had, forgotten to intimate the claim. And after 45 days, we submitted the claim file. What we observed was that insurance company definitely told us that why didn't you submit it? We told him that the patient was suffering with COVID, hence we could not submit the claim file because COVID के बाद भी कई बार 15 दिन 20 दिन तक लोग बाहर जाना prefer नहीं करते हैं. तो insurance company does not want to reject it. You can always give them a valid reason कि भाई इसके कारण हम लोग भूल गए हैं. और मेरा तो सबको यही suggestion होता है. I tell every of my clients that if suppose you feel that in next 15 days you're not able to submit the claim file, just mail the, at least mail the TPAs that because of this reason, I will not be able to submit the claim file for the next another 15 days. If अगर communication चला गया है तो the insurance company can never reject even if the claim comes after 1.5 months.
Yes.
Basically. But you need to inform the insurance company as a good faith that this something has happened to me before they raise the query. If you just inform them once, I'm sure that the insurance company will reconsider your opinion, consider your request.
Setsa, what about the retinal lasers? There are many patients who undergo retinal laser therapy, but here are cases where I am reading the claims of retinal laser getting rejected because they are not considered in the day care list by the insurance company.
So if I believe that the IRD circular clearly states the approval of intravitreal injections, basically.
Not the laser.
No, see, when such a query comes up, what I tell them is even if it is not mentioned in your list of daycare procedures, you cannot reject the procedure. Like lasers cannot be rejected. Retinal lasers are a valid treatment, and it is a treatment which is required, which is compulsory. So if the patient is having a policy, the insurance company cannot reject the laser claim. If yes, for LASIK they already have a clause, but for retinal lasers they cannot reject the claim.
I think you can
So
submit
you can
the IRDA circular for that. IRDA circular can be presented.
Definitely, you see, retinal laser therapy is a sight-saving therapy. So
Sight-saving.
ideally, it should not be rejected. Therapy which is saving the sight of a patient, how can that can be rejected? So it's a valid point. Now, there is a patient who is having an insurance policy which only allows 2 injections in a year. Now he requires 4 injections. Now, how can that patient settle the claim for the remaining injections? Number 2, is there any top-up insurance plan available which can the patient go for because he is requiring 4 injections?
So what happens is that when you buy a top-up plan, primarily for the 2 years, you have a waiting period. And that is for specified treatments. Every insurance company, when you go to them and you buy a new plan, they have a specified waiting period for certain kinds of diseases. Plus for pre-existing diseases, they have a 3-year or 4-year limit. Before 3-4 years, you cannot claim. for this injection. So after 3-4 years, if suppose when you're going for a super top up policy and in the proposal form you mention it that we have this we had this surgery performed in so and so year, the insurance company is going to give you a waiting period of 4 years. So 3 years or 4 years, that is. So after 3-4 years, you can always claim it. But I would like to add one more thing to it, that कोई इंश्योरेंस कंपनी के पॉलिसी वर्डिंग्स में एज फार एज माय नॉलेज इज कंसर्न्ड ऐसा लिखा हुआ नहीं है कि 2 इंजेक्शन ही आप ले सकते हैं. दे कैन लिमिट द नंबर ऑफ सम इंश्योर्ड. सपोज 10% ऑफ सम इंश्योर्ड इज कैन बी पेड, बट नंबर ऑफ इंजेक्शंस का मैंने अभी तक नहीं पढ़ा है. बट इन केस ऐसा होता है कि नहीं 4 इंजेक्शन की जरूरत है और 2 इंजेक्शन ही इंश्योरेंस कंपनी परमिट कर रही है, तो आप इसको चैलेंज कर सकते हैं. क्योंकि कई कोर्स अगर 4 इंजेक्शन की होते हैं तो आप उसको रिजेक्ट नहीं कर सकते. द ओम्बड्समैन विल डेफिनेटली लुक इनटू इट एंड विल गिव अ प्रॉपर रिप्लाई टू इट. अदरवाइज आई हैव सीन दैट द नंबर ऑफ इंजेक्शंस का कैपिंग नहीं है, सम इंश्योर्ड या परसेंटेज ऑफ सम इंश्योर्ड का कैपिंग है.
Now, is the insurance company providing the list for daycare procedures?
Yes. All insurance companies have mentioned their daycare procedure in their policy wordings. You can just need to find in Google also. Suppose if you have HDFC Ergo, your insurance company is HDFC Ergo, just Google in HDFC Ergo plan name, for example, Optima Restore, then write it down policy wordings. It is a very large document, probably 50-60 pages, but in their list of daycare procedures, इवन आई के लिए इतने डिसीजेज, सपोज नोज के लिए इतने डिसीजेज डे केयर में है, ईयर के लिए इतने डिसीजेज है, वो सब वो लोग कैटेगोरिकली मेंशन करते हैं अच्छी इंश्योरेंस कंपनी, या फिर डे केयर प्रोसीजर तो मेंशन करनी ही पड़ती है सभी को.
But there are certain insurance companies, I think they are not providing. This is the
it is just Google it. Every insurance company has to mention the list of daycare procedures. They may not be providing in a proper format, but they might be giving it 200 बीमारियां है, ये 200 इतने नाम की है. उस 200 बीमारियों में शायद ऐसा हो सकता है कि आपकी जो बीमारी है वो अंदर मेंशन नहीं की हुई है, लेकिन अगर डॉक्टर्स को लगता है कि ये लाइफ सेविंग है या है, तो आप उसको चैलेंज कर सकते हैं इंश्योरेंस कंपनी को.
जैसे भी बात हुई रेटिनल लेजर, it is a sight saving therapy.
I was referring to that only.
So that can be challenged.
That can 100% it can be challenged, because
remember that if it is not in the list also,
then also it can be
they cannot reject it.
So you can challenge it.
Not in the list.
You can challenge it. Of course, there are certain treatments which won't be allowed, like cosmetics and like LASIK and everything, because they consider it in this cosmetic surgery. For example, earlier ऐसा भी हो रहा था, अगर आपको पता है कि bariatric surgery was not allowed, तो now bariatric is also allowed because it is considered big. जिसको diabetes heavy है उसको bariatric करना ही पड़ेगा. Now they are gaining the claim as well. So
now, for LASIK also, some insurance companies are giving LASIK surgeries also.
But that is probably in group mediclaim policies, not in individual mediclaim policies.
Yeah.
Group mediclaim policies.
Group mediclaim. It was a company claim. Recently, we have claimed LASIK also.
Group mediclaim में सर मिल रहा है कि group mediclaim की जो policy होती है customized होती है client to client. इसलिए सर.
But they have capped
25,000
refractive error. It should be more than 8 diopters, 7 diopters.
Yeah.
So they have kept a cap like that.
Because वरना तो LASIK में तो बहुत लोग करवाएंगे.
हाँ वही.
Yes sir.
So now we don't have any significant questions from the audience. So thank you very much, Dr. Kadam and Mr. Sheth. So on behalf of Intas Pharmaceuticals, we convey our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to both the eminent speakers and the participants for their gracious presence and the wonderful participation to make this webinar a successful one. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.